Okay, well, so this month is my birthday month. I'm turning 26 at the end of this month, which is crazy. But for the past couple of years, this is the third year, I've just kind of been doing birthday month, which I know is like really annoying. You know, those people that think that they are the main character for the entirety of their birthday month. But it's just a time for me to kind of slow down and reflect and just be nice to myself and celebrate myself in little ways and big ways, and to just look back on the year and kind of take stock of how I'm doing and where I'm going. So the last couple of years I've been posting every day on Instagram for birthday month, which has been fun, but last year it also kind of just felt like a task, and I'm not really sure who it's for. I don't know if, people have been interested, like my friends, they've been like, oh, it's so fun to see your updates, it's fun to see what you're thinking about, and when I post something vulnerable, then people love it, like my friends love it, and there's been a lot of positive feedback on that, which is good. But I don't really know where I'm at with social media, but I'm just kind of tired of it, and I don't really know why I'm posting, who I'm posting for, and I am addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to Instagram. I spend way too much time on it, and it's causing me to compare myself to other people and feel like I'm behind, and makes me feel bad about my body and my life. So yeah, I'm wanting to cut down, but at the same time wanting to put something out there that has value. But I don't know. I do have anxiety, so I guess that's just what it is. But I was just thinking today about all of the ideas that I have that never make it out into the real world for whatever reason. And it's just kind of sad to think about all of those things that are in my head and they just live there. And if I don't get them out, then they will just die with me. Literally, they will die with me. I never say something out loud. I never make something. I never create something that's in here. It's lost. And that is scary and that is sad. So why not sit down and talk to a camera? I'm kind of just doing it to practice talking in front of a camera in case I ever do want to more seriously make content, and also just for myself to watch in 20 years, or for my potential kids or grandkids to watch as a little time capsule. Someone's coming home now. I don't want anyone walking in on me doing this. I'll kill myself. Oh, it's Luke. So anyway, I just decided to move ahead with this and make it, and just insert myself in a reality where I'm not afraid, without the pressure of ever having to post, without the pressure of showing this to anyone, without the promise of making something good, just expressing myself and getting thoughts out of my head, just for my own sake. And, for future generations, because it's always fun to look back and see, Hannah 2020, are we in 24? Oh my god, we're in 24. Hannah 2024, what was she thinking about, what was she wearing, what was on her mind? So yeah, if all this ends up being is just a little look into my mind, wouldn't last a day in the asylum where they raised me type beat, I'll be happy with that. One of the things that's been on my mind lately is how hard it is to make friends when you're an adult. I just sometimes feel a little bit lonely. I'm away from my family. I don't hang out with any of my colleagues outside of work, and I don't really have the desire to. I'm not going to church, and I'm not going to college, but I do miss community and friendships. And I was just thinking about how it's never too late to reach out to someone that you miss. Like if you miss someone, you should let them know. There's been so many times that I've missed someone or wanted to catch up with someone, and I just didn't because I feel embarrassed about how long it's been since I last talked to them. I feel like they're mad at me for not reaching out, or I feel like we've grown apart, or I feel like what's the point of reaching out to them? But I've been trying to challenge that thought and just reach out, because you're not going to lose anything by reaching out. I recently messaged this girl that I used to work with, Nina. Shout out Nina, I freaking love you. I saw a meme that I thought was funny and I sent it to her. And then because one day at work she was talking to me about The Cat in the Hat, the movie, and she was making all these references and I was kind of laughing along, and then I confessed that I hadn't seen it and she really wanted me to watch it. And then like a couple of weeks after that, she decides that she's gonna quit and she's gonna move far away. And I saw this reel on Instagram, which was a Cat in the Hat meme, and I sent it to her and we just messaged back and forth a little bit. And then I said to her, if fate ever brings us back together, we are watching Cat in the Hat together. Because it's so easy to let those connections just disappear and just be like passing ships and you never see that person again. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can reach out to them, you can let them know, hey, you're still on my mind, I still think you're cool. I even said to her, like, I'm kicking myself for not hanging out with you when we had the chance. You know, I think just with things like that, if you miss someone, don't overthink it. Just shoot them a message, shoot them a meme, send them an update. Like, it doesn't have to be this thing where you sit down and have a 3-hour like catch up with someone. You can just throw them a little bit for connection and see what happens. Like, my cousin David is one of the people that I really connected with during the pandemic when I was in Denmark. And one of the things that we do is we just send each other memes back and forth. I've talked to him on the phone once. Once I have talked to him on the phone because I wanted to hear the story of how he found his birth mother, which is freaking crazy. But that's the only time I've called him. The only other thing that we do is we trade memes, and then sometimes we'll ask like, oh, how are you? And that's literally it. But when I was in Denmark during the pandemic and I was connecting with David, I was visiting him and we were talking, he told me that sending memes is kind of like a love language for him. Every time he sends a meme, it's just like he's saying to that person, hey, I'm thinking about you, I miss you, I love you. You know, it's just like a little sign. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And now I think about it like that. If all you can do is send someone a meme, send someone a photo, send someone a message that says, hey, with 3 Ys, just do that. Doing something is always better than doing nothing. If there's an idea in your mind, just do it. Like, what would happen if every time you miss someone, you just reached out, you just threw a bid for connection out there? Every time you had an idea, something you wanted to do, you just did it. If it's something good, if it's something that genuinely comes from your heart, a desire for connection or a desire to create, I am begging you, and I am really begging myself, just act on it. That's what life is all about, right? Because you're the only one that has the capacity to do that thing. If there's an idea in your mind, you are the person responsible for carrying out that idea. It's like, I can't find the book right now, but this concept is something that I learned from Viktor Frankl's book. I forgot what it's called in English, but Viktor Frankl is basically, he was a concentration camp prisoner and also a psychologist, and he wrote this book. One of the concepts that he brought up in this book is the concept of instead of thinking about what you are expecting out of life, start thinking about what life is expecting out of you. And he presented it like, as we go throughout our lives, as we go about our days, there are little challenges that are put up to us, and it is our responsibility to respond to those challenges. Every time we are faced with anything, it is our responsibility to think, what does this moment call for right now from me? From me specifically, me being who I am, having my beliefs, having my abilities, having my creativity, having my ideas. This moment that I'm faced with, what does it demand of me? And the measure of your ethic is kind of how you respond to those challenges. And I think when you miss someone, or you have the impulse to create something, that is those little challenges that you must respond to. You miss someone, it comes up in your brain that you miss someone. That is a calling, that is a challenge for you to reach out and to establish or to maintain your connection with that person, because clearly they're important to you and they're coming up in your brain, and your life would improve if you acted on that impulse, if you responded to that challenge of reaching out to maintain or establish the connection. And the same thing goes for creativity. If you have an idea in your brain, your unique brain, with everything that entails, if something comes up, it is your responsibility to act on it, to create it. And if you don't, then it's gonna eat you up. It's actually gonna eat you up. The amount of creative projects, the amount of stuff that I have stuck in here, the amount of things that I want to make, but for whatever reason haven't, it eats me up as a creative person, as someone who expresses themselves through art in various forms. It eats me up when I don't act on it, and I'm robbing the world of that thing that could have existed if I just was present enough in the moment and brave enough to act upon the challenge that was put in front of me. And I didn't mean to preach like that. I did not sit down here today intending to preach, but can I get an amen? Like last week, or this week, I went to work in the morning, and I was sitting down and I was exhausted. I still had like 15 minutes left before my shift started, and I was having a big old energy drink, 500 milliliters. Milliliters? Yeah, whatever. A big old energy drink and a cinnamon roll or something, which is a great healthy breakfast for a 25-year-old. And then randomly I just started missing my mom. And I was thinking about that one time when I was in Australia and she was back in Denmark. She had just purchased a clinic because she's a podiatrist, and she was gonna have like a grand opening, and she wanted to like serve food and drinks. And then she messaged me and she asked me for my recipe for iced latte. And I was just thinking about that, and it really gets to me every time. First of all, because she saw me, because when I was in Denmark during the pandemic, iced coffee was like my thing, and I was always, I always had like a big homemade iced coffee in my hand, and it's never something that my mom and I discussed. It's just something that apparently she had seen. And then later on, when she wanted to serve iced coffee to the people who came into her clinic for the grand opening, she asked me, hey, I need a recipe for iced coffee. I know Hannah loves iced coffee, let me ask her. That is so incredibly sweet, because how easy would it have been for her to just Google it? She did not need to message me about that, but she had that impulse for connection, and she reached out, and I picked it up and I gave her the recipe. And then all of this time later, like years later, I was thinking about that moment, And I just started crying. Anyway, after work, I was in the car with Joel because he picked me up. And I was just exhausted and I cried again. And I just said to him, I miss my mom. On that day, I decided I was gonna honor that challenge that was presented to me. And I just messaged my mom and I said, I miss you. That's it. I said, miss you with a little love heart emoji. And then she texted me back and she was like, can I call you? And I said, yeah, of course you can call me. So she called me and we talked on the phone for an hour, which is very unusual. I don't think we've ever spent an hour on the phone, just me and her, without my dad present. And all of that came about because she reached out to ask for my iced latte recipe. I responded by giving it to her. Then I reached out. Because of that moment, I reached out and I said, I miss you. And she responded to that by saying, can I call you? It's just like this beautiful butterfly effect of like me and my mom's relationship would not be where it is if we didn't respond to those impulses to reach out for connection. Like the ratio of how often we have the impulse and how often we actually act on it is an imbalance, right? I have these impulses all the time. I think about people all the time. But the amount of times that I actually do something about it is minimal. And I think that's sad. I think that's very sad. Because think how different your life could be. How different would my life be? And how many friends and relationships could I have had if I just responded to that impulse? If I responded to that challenge of building community? Like the other day, I was standing in line for KFC waiting for my food, and I saw this really beautiful person standing there, and they had like this really cute tattoo that I was like, wow, that is so unique and beautiful. I want to compliment them on it. I want to say something to them. But of course I didn't, because I'm a coward. Those moments haunt me because that could have been a friend. That could have been that community that I'm looking for. If I had just responded to that impulse and just said, hey, I like your tattoo. Who knows what that could have led to? At the end of the day, it could have led to nothing. Maybe all I did was just pay a stranger a compliment. And wouldn't that have been wonderful as well? You don't lose anything by responding to an impulse for connection, but you could potentially lose everything by not doing it. The thing that I am wanting, the thing that I miss in my life, I could have if I just honor that, like it's fate, it's kismet, it's serendipity. When you run into a person in whatever way, how many people are in the world? And how many people do you actually have the honor of seeing and meeting in real life? I think I looked that up one time. Hold on, now stick with me. I promise you I have a point. Yes. The average person meets about 200 to 500 new people a year. 500 people over 100 years is 50,000 people. Out of 7.5 billion, that is 0.00067%. If out of those people that you see or meet, if there is any chance for connection and friendship, then why the hell would you not act on that? It is so crazy. Now, let me do a little callback to when I was in the KFC line, okay? Because I do have a bone to pick with my local KFC and the way that it's running. You put your order in, okay? You put your order in, yeah. Your name comes up on the screen. And then when your order is ready, when it's ready, the KFC employees will call your name, you walk to the counter and you grab your food and you go. But these people They are literally like vultures, just hovering over that counter, waiting for their food to come out. And I just don't get it. There are people who are literally like doing this on the counter, right? Like they're at the counter and they're like, where's my food? Like, just step back, like literally just step back. It's not that hard. Like, they see that their name is at the bottom of the screen and there's like 25 names before them, and yet they are posted up at the counter, leaning on the counter. They're staring down the KFC employees as if that's gonna make the process go any fucking quicker. Like, girl, wait your turn. Just wait your turn. I'm really sick of it. They always get to you eventually. Yes, it might take a while. Yes, like sometimes they forget to put your dipping sauce that you ordered and paid for, but they're doing their best. So I'm not really that fussed about the service. The service is fine. I am annoyed at my fellow KFC customers. My fellow KFC, what's that called? Oh my god, that's gonna bother me. Patron. Oh my god, a patron. My fellow KFC patrons. Those are the people that I have a problem with, okay? I think that's it for my rant on KFC. Just wait your turn. And like, okay, I make a podcast and then I go viral, and then what? And then what? Like, I don't want to be famous. I really genuinely don't want to be famous, which is weird to say because for a lot of years out of my childhood, that was like my dream. Throughout my childhood, I really thought one day I was going to be famous. Like, I vividly remember me and my sister Miriam, we used to make like movies together at home at my grandma's house, and I would be all the characters, to be honest. Like, not just the main character, I would be all of the characters. And I know that our younger sister Bex has some beef with us about that because we would not let her act in our movies, which was very mean. It was very mean, and I do apologize for that, Bex. We should have included you, and it honestly haunts me to this day that we didn't. All that to say, I really loved acting. I thought I had so much fun making those videos with Miriam. And I remember distinctly like me thinking, oh, I'm gonna be an actress. Like, this is my calling. I'm going to act. I'm going to be in movies one day. Like, I'm going to be in movies. And I remember watching America's Next Top Model, like obsessed with it, watching it and thinking like, oh, that will be me one day. Like, I'm going to compete on America's Next Top Model. And back then I was maybe like 12 and I didn't really speak English well. So I just imagined that like I would go there when I was maybe like 18 and then I would just have a translator with me. Like, you know, I was willing to do whatever it took because I knew in my heart that when Tyra saw my audition tape that she wouldn't be able to say no, honey. Like, yeah, okay, this girl is not American and she's not really giving the physique or the facial structure of a supermodel, but there's something about her. There's something about her. Get her a ticket to the United States because we need her. I genuinely thought that was gonna happen to me. And I also vividly remember like when I got older and I started like singing on the worship team at church and like getting really into singing. I remember talking to my friend Blue when we were kids and being like, oh yeah, when we graduate high school, we're gonna go to LA. We're going to LA and then we're gonna get discovered and we're gonna be famous because we're so talented and like cool. And that was a legitimate, like, life plan that I had in my head when I was a kid, that when I had finished high school, you know, doing what I had to do, I was gonna go to LA and I was gonna become a famous singer. Or a famous actress, or, you know. And then that evolved, you know, as social media evolved, it evolved into me thinking, I'm gonna be an influencer, I'm gonna be a blogger, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, I'm gonna be a TikTok star, I'm gonna be all of these things. And it's only recently that I've kind of started to let go of that expectation and that dream. I think there honestly is still a part of me that thinks that somehow I am going to be famous, and I don't know why. Obviously, yes, it has something to do with the fact that as a kid I didn't really feel seen. So I thought that the solution for that would be to just be seen by everybody, and I didn't really feel validated. And I thought, oh, like, if I just get famous and then get validation from everyone, then that's gonna heal me, that's gonna fix me. And it's also definitely influenced by, like, megachurch culture, where you're constantly hearing, like, you're destined for greatness and God has a plan for you, and whatever you put your mind to you can achieve, and, like, you are chosen, and, you know, you're alive for such a time as this, and, like, everything is gonna work out for you because you're blessed and highly favored. And we need people, like, we need Christian people in all spheres of life, and we need Christian people in the music industry and in the film industry and here and there and everywhere. And that could be you because you're a leader and you're special and God loves you. That is very toxic, because guess what? It's not true for everyone. It's true for everyone, sure, you know, that God loves them and whatever. But everyone can't be destined for greatness. And what does greatness even mean? When I heard that, I thought, like, oh, awesome, like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be rich and famous. Even coming to Hillsong College, I was like, I'm gonna be discovered there, and they're gonna put me on the album, and I'm gonna be the next Taya Smith, Taya Gokroger, because I'm talented, and, you know, God has a plan for me, and God loves me, and God knows the desires of my heart, and the desires of my heart is to be loved and admired and to be rich. So why would that not happen to me? And then I got here, and it very much did not happen. So then it's like, why not? There must be something wrong with me. If I have all of these prerequisites to succeed and somehow I don't, oh, there must be something wrong with me then. I just think it's dangerous. It's dangerous to talk about calling in that way, because it makes these young people think that, like, there is one goal, there is one path, there is one thing that you are created and destined and meant to do. And that thing is going to happen one way or another. You know, if you're experiencing a setback, that's just character development, and that's just God preparing you for this big thing that's somewhere in the future that one day you will achieve if you are a good and faithful servant to Him. It's dangerous because how is a person supposed to know, first of all, what that one thing is? That one thing that we're supposed to do, is that just whatever we desire the most? Is it what we're good at? Is it what the world needs? Like, how do you even begin to hone in on that one thing in the world that you're supposed to do? And if for whatever reason you go through your life and you don't end up doing that thing or getting to that place, what does that mean? What does that then say about you? Does that mean that you're a failure? Does that mean that God isn't real? God isn't faithful? Does it mean that, you know, you just didn't try hard enough, you didn't believe hard enough, you sinned too much, you did this, or this. What does it mean? I've seen it happen. People who think that they have a very clear idea in their mind of the thing that they're supposed to do. And when they don't get to do that thing, it really, really breaks them. And it is a loss that some don't recover from. Genuinely, it is a grief, and it is a loss that is so profound, because you thought that you knew what your purpose in life was, and it never came to pass. And my perspective on calling and purpose has definitely changed. And I am a completely different person now than who I was pre-pandemic, which is a blessing and a curse. But I think now, like, my thoughts on calling and purpose are just that your calling is to be who you are. Your calling is to be you. I know this is like a cliche, but you're the only you in the world, right? That is the thing that you contribute to the world, is the fact that you are you and you are unique. There's no one else in the world who has your mind and your upbringing and your body and your experiences and your context and your talents and your limitations and your weaknesses and your interests, and like this whole tapestry of who you are. That is your calling, and your purpose is to become and to be, I guess, the best version of you. It is to love the people around you. It is to respond to the daily challenges of life. Why the hell would you go so hard after this distant thing in the future that you think is your purpose, but yet you're ignoring all of the little challenges of life every single day? Like, if you do finally get there, you're not going to be fulfilled and you're not going to be happy. Because the little challenges of life that were thrown at you, you didn't care about those. You were laser focused. And even if you get it, it's not going to be good, because you failed to be present. You failed to be present along the way and to respond to those challenges and impulses and ideas that are unique to you in a moment in time. Like, how precious is that, to be a person, to be alive at this time, in this place, with these people, with these opportunities, with this experience. Like, everything, like, right now is so precious and so unique. This moment cannot be replicated. You know, I'm saying this as a 25-year-old living in Australia. I just got married a few months ago. I have this new job. You know, like, where I am at and what I am doing has never happened before and will never happen again. So I think, you know, your calling is to be present, to respond to ideas and impulses and challenges, and to just be you. I think your calling is to enjoy life. Your calling is to be nice. Your calling is to create. Your calling is to heal. Your calling is to have relationships and have love, and to experience beauty and to experience pain and to experience suffering. Because even in suffering also demands something of us. There's a challenge to suffering. How you respond to suffering is unfortunately also a part of life, and also a part of your calling. How can it not be a part of your calling? Anything that happens to you is a calling. It calls for something out of you. And I just think a lot of Christian people who grew up with the megachurch, prosperity gospel, you're destined for greatness messaging, I just think they're missing out. And I think they've got it wrong. And it's something that I'm still unlearning. I sometimes feel like I'm behind in life. I'm a failure. I'm not doing anything important. I'm not doing anything, I'm not achieving anything. I'm not making the world a better place. But that's not true, is it? How can that be true when I'm here, I'm alive, I'm learning, I'm live, laugh, loving. I am live, laugh, loving. What more purpose could there be than that? I am texting my mom saying that I miss her. I am texting memes to my friends and former colleagues. I am drawing, okay? Because I love to draw. I'm not drawing to become the next freaking Picasso. I'm drawing because I had an idea in my brain and then I acted on it, right? This freaking fish. I just drew this fish. How is this not my calling? And why does someone need to see it and acknowledge it? And why does it need to be in a museum for that to be my calling? This is my calling. I'm doing it. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this first installment of the birthday month pod. And I guess what we've learned today is that you're doing fine. You are doing fine. I'm talking to myself now. You, Hannah. You. If anyone ever watches this, if anyone ever lays their eyes on this and hears this message, you who are listening, you are doing fine. You are showing up. You are learning about yourself and the world. You're being nice to people. You're responding to impulses to create connections with people and to create art and to make the world a better place. You're doing fine. You're actually doing great, and you're actually fulfilling your calling, and you're actually occupying the space that you were destined and created and meant to occupy. Okay? Anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully I'll do another one next week, but if not, I guess this was just a one-hit wonder. And that's also fine. If I never do this again, that's also fine. Because I had an impulse to do something and I honored it and I listened to it. And maybe 20 years down the road, 100 years down the road, someone digs up this video and they get something from it, anything. Or even if they're just entertained or if they're laughing at me. That's fine. This wasn't for nothing. I've enjoyed myself. And I feel a weight off my shoulders just by saying things out loud. So, there you are. Goodbye. Love ya.